All right, let's get right into this explainer. We're diving into the absolute insane, action-packed journey of a powerless outcast who literally flips his entire world's hierarchy completely upside out. Seriously, if you're a fan of a true, gritty, zero-to-hero story packed with crazy power scaling and deep, deep lore, you're going to want to buckle up for this one.
So, to really grasp the stakes here, we first got to look at the world itself. Picture a society where color literally dictates your worth. The brighter your color, the stronger your powers, and naturally, the higher your status. Now imagine our main guy, Kay. He's an albino. He is completely colorless in a world absolutely obsessed with hues. He's starting with zilch, nothing. Which brings us to the ultimate question: what actually happens when a guy like that suddenly gains the terrifying power to devour the exact thing he's been denied his whole life?
The contrast defining Kay's everyday reality is just brutal. On one side, you've got the colorful elite. These are the shining protectors commanding flashy elemental powers, living it up in high society. And on the flip side, the colorless outcasts, forced into the shadows, completely powerless, and dealing with severe everyday discrimination. Kay gets mocked, beaten, and point-blank barred from joining the Pioneer Corporation, which is the elite military force exploring the monster-infested Blacklands outside the city. He is, without a doubt, the ultimate underdog.
All right, moving into part 1, An Outcast's Dark Awakening, Surviving the Toxic Ink Vat.
The whole nightmare kicks off on what should have been a totally routine day, right before it spirals into a desperate fight for survival. Kay gets ambushed by some low-level gang bullies, and they snatch his only companion, this rare little glowing creature named Nero. In the frantic struggle to get Nero back, Kay is violently shoved into a massive, highly lethal paint disposal vat. We're talking toxic sludge meant to literally melt bodies down. But instead, pushed to the absolute brink of death, Kay actually absorbs the sludge. He emerges with the rarest, most terrifying power you can imagine, the color black. Literally the color of monsters, and his very first act? He instantly drains his attackers of their color, turning them completely pale. It is wild.
And while he's down there, literally drowning in that toxic vat, a mysterious sort of cosmic voice speaks to him, dropping this chilling command: accept your true color. Devour it if you don't want to die. That cryptic command locks in his new identity. Kay isn't just some street fighter anymore. No, he is now the king of draining. He can absorb ink, colors, and even the literal life force of horrific monsters out in the Blacklands.
Now for part 2, Crushing the Pioneer Exam and Breaking the World's Rules.
So, Kay decides to take these new powers out for a spin at the Pioneer Corporation entrance exam, and what happens is just an absolute masterclass in humiliating the elite. He pulls off this insane combo of feats. First up, he gets matched against Gale. Gale's this year's most hyped, arrogant prodigy, and Kay literally one-punches the guy straight into a wall. Boom, done. Next, an S-rank veteran named Red steps up to run a brutal heat endurance test. When Kay starts running low on stamina, his survival instincts kick in, and he accidentally drains the defensive color barriers of every single competitor in the room. Oops, right? But this definitely grabs Red's attention, leading to a private test where Kay absorbs Red's raw, explosive flames directly with his bare hands. Unbelievable.
To really put this into perspective, we have to look at the power scaling of this universe, because the gap in the hierarchy is massive. At the very top, you have S-ranks like Red and Celestia. These guys are basically walking natural disasters. Below them are the highly lethal, experienced A and B rank veterans. And then there's Kay. He just instantly leaps from the oppressed unranked tier straight up to C rank. He totally bypasses all the established rules because his potential is just that terrifying. In a single day, he proves, without a doubt, that he belongs on the battlefield.
Which brings us to part 3, Into the Blacklands, Facing the Unknown Threats.
Armed with this new rank, Kay gets drafted into his first real expedition outside the safety of the city walls. And the objective here is absolutely vital. They're hunting for a Stella fragment. This is an ancient, multicolored relic that packs an immense amount of power. The Luminous City, which is basically the last remaining bastion of humanity, is desperately trying to collect these fragments. They need them to push back the encroaching, monster-infested darkness of the Blacklands. Without those fragments, humanity's days are literally numbered.
But man, the Blacklands are incredibly unforgiving. Right in the middle of the mission, they get ambushed by this terrifying entity known as the Sword Demon. This monster is so overwhelmingly strong it effortlessly shatters the weapons of the elite recruits. It's a complete bloodbath. In a frantic, super cinematic clash, Kay actually throws himself directly in front of an attack to save his team.
and the Sword Demon Strike completely severs Kei's arm. I mean, it really looks like game over. But then, Kei's black ink violently reconstructs his severed arm right there on the spot. He grabs the monster and starts draining its very existence. It completely terrifies the creature into a desperate retreat, and honestly, it shocks the absolute daylights out of the S-rank leaders watching.
Moving on to Part 4, The Luminous City's Secret, Meeting the Peak of Power. So after pulling off the impossible and returning with the fragment, Kei gets summoned for this totally unexpected audience with Celestia. She's the current luminous one, making her the single most powerful person in the city. And she tells him point blank, "I truly want to thank you for recovering that precious light. You are the first to open the Black Witch's barrier." Okay, so the big takeaway here? Kei isn't just some heavy-hitting brawler. His black color actually allows him to bypass ancient seals that literally nobody else, not even Celestia herself, can break. He is the literal, physical key to humanity's survival.
And just to show you the sheer, unbelievable scale of what he pulled off, get this. 1. It took exactly 1 day. Just 1 single day after activating the Stella fragment for a massive pillar of light to violently push back the darkness. For the very first time in decades, the city's borders actually expanded. Kei's actions changed the literal geography of the world overnight. He went from zero to living legend just like that.
Up next, Part 5, Return to the Underground, a vicious rescue mission. But, of course, just as Kei gets a taste of success, things take a deeply personal turn. He finds out his oldest childhood friend, Mary, an albino mechanic who had his back when he had absolutely nothing, while she gets kidnapped, snatched by a ruthless gang deep in the lawless underground slums. Kei drops literally everything and storms their base, and we get to witness the brutal evolution of his combat style, the Black Arsenal. He figures out how to crystallize his black ink into tangible weapons. We're talking summoning daggers out of nowhere, manifesting heavy axes to shatter armored enemies, and he even combines them to form a massive wall-shattering drill. It is an absolute beatdown. He completely drains the gang executives of all their stolen colors, leaving them totally powerless.
Here we go, Part 6, Confronting the Mad Scientist, Shadows of the Tragic Past.
This really brings us to the deep emotional core of the whole story. Kei finally catches up to the mastermind pulling all the strings here, Blanc. Blanc is this sadistic researcher running a horrific operation based around something called extraction. It's this deeply forbidden process of forcefully draining the colors from living people to empower himself and control these horrific monsters. And that is the sickening fate awaiting Mary if Kei fails to stop him right here, right now.
You know, the massive emotional weight of this fight is entirely anchored in their shared horrific history together. Years ago, Kei and Mary were actually captured and forced into this fake orphanage, which was actually a front for Blanc's underground lab. They were literally used as lab rats for these exact same extractions. The endless torture only stopped when Kei's latent power instinctively went off and detonated the entire facility. That explosion allowed him and Mary to escape and scrape together a meager life in the slums. So the fact that Blanc survived that blast and is coming after Mary again, yeah, this is the ultimate grudge match.
And the fight itself, absolutely brutal. Blanc actually has the nerve to inject himself with synthetic black ink just to match Kei, taunting him, claiming they're exactly the same, just parasites who steal color. But Kei, he shuts that down real quick. He proves that his raw, authentic power vastly outclasses Blanc's cheap, stolen abilities. In this massive, epic climax, Kei manifests a gigantic black fist and hits Blanc with a point-blank, raw energy bazooka blast right to the chest, utterly, completely overpowering the mad scientist. It is so satisfying.
But naturally, in his defeat, Blanc manages to trigger the lab's self-destruct sequence. The floor completely collapses, and Mary falls directly into a massive toxic ink vat, literally the exact same way Kei got his powers. Kei doesn't even hesitate. He dives straight in. To save her from melting down, he uses his draining power to absorb the entire ocean of toxic ink. But guys, it's what happens next that changes absolutely everything. The sheer force of Kei stripping away all that darkness actually ignites Mary's hidden potential. She awakens with this brilliant, golden, radiant aura. The colorless boy jumped into the dark to save her, and in doing so, he proved that even the darkest power can bring out the absolute brightest light.
Just when you think Kei and Mary had finally earned a little bit of peace, the world scales up on them yet again.
While they were busy fighting underground, this mysterious villain named Viper went ahead and healed the sword demon, unleashing a massive Titan-level monster horde right at the front gates of the Bright City, which leaves us with a seriously desperate question. With a full-scale invasion looming, can Kei actually protect his newfound life and the people he loves? The stakes have literally never been higher. So make sure to join us in our next explainer as we continue this incredible zero-to-hero epic, because trust me, this story is only just getting started.